Hello, I'm Jody Wolf. You're watching Expoz. Today is July 25, 2016, 1:39 a.m., Birmingham. And the topic is, will the Christians, have to go through any part of the tribulation? This has been asked a million times. And every time you do a different study, it points in it never changes in the Bible, but the messages that we get out of the other places and add it to what we have, that changes. But the Bible, you look at it and it's consistent. So when you read what God says about the tribulation, He said it's never been a time this bad, and never will be a time this bad again. That puts on there more than our minds and our hearts can imagine right now. But let me go through. I just listened to two of Doug Stauffer's, and he's a giant pre-trib rapture man. But if you ask Doug Stauffer, will the church go through the tribulation? His answer is simple. It's like mine. But asked by many, will the Christians go through the tribulation? And my answer again is no. And we will not. But before you get in on your high horse, hear me out on something. I've got new stuff that I've found, and I didn't read it. I just put a lot of stuff between the lines and came up with this. Back in the days when Jesus and the disciples were here, what was tribulation at that time? Well, if you compare the tribulation, the year 3990 BC to the year 10 AD, see what it was like back then. Just as these dates for your guide back then measure the tribulation, as we can imagine it as it gets today or could get today. And then as it was 2027 years ago. So over 2,000 years ago, being tortured just the way Jesus was, that was torment. He went through the worst of the worst. And it was very severe. And I can't imagine any more pain being put upon a person today as him back in his day. And then the death of Jesus was especially brutal. And by that, to make it even worse for him than anything that you can read as far as what he went through, all that he went through. To make it worse for him is that his own creation killed him. People say, well, didn't the Jews kill Jesus? Didn't the Romans kill Jesus? His creation, the people he created, killed him. No Jews, no Romans. The people. And I'll agree on both and add this. I mean, we can't quite comprehend making something unless we say our children and they take us one day and torture us. We can't believe this. This is our children. Why are they doing this? But there's a difference. And it was such a bad difference is he had to go to God in prayer on the cross and ask God to forgive us. He said, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. And thank God he did that. Thank God he asked, because had he not asked, where would we be today? Would I be doing this blog right now? Would you be right there hearing me? We don't know that answer. But that's what I believe. I don't believe I would be doing it, and I don't believe you'd be watching it. I believe there would have been changes way back then. So I'll ask one more time, will there, us, those who are saved, go through the tribulation? Again, first, look at today. All the horrible things that we talk about, that you keep hearing over and over, all the horrible things that we see from Islam, they're beheading. Some of them are quick, some of them are slow. And 400 years ago, you had Dracula, then you had Vlad the Impaler. I mean, look at the ways people used to torture. Man could come up with some very horrible ways of torture. We read about the aliens. This is today. Reptilians. The things in the dark that we can only hear but we cannot see. Either way, we fear them. We hear about what's underground. Dulce, New Mexico, for example. At least 7 floors in a city. 1 floor reserved for the things that have been created by crossbreeding. Crossbreed anything you can imagine. Man and frogs. Women and bats. Bats and frogs. Things are real and have been for a very long time crossbred. Now, imagine there's a floor of these things that are alive. How horrible can they be? There's been a man that supposedly saw this and said it tore his heart out to see and to hear the screams coming from one level. He says some of them look very normal, but all I can tell you, if we're down there, and I know we are, doing these things, then we didn't stop because we felt like, nah, we shouldn't be doing this stuff. It's continuing. So then you come in, you have a floor that's for food, and these are the ones that died. So they're food for the ones that's continuing, the failed experiments. And you have a floor with aliens. The aliens are actually disembodied spirits of the Raphaim, the children of fallen angels. And they put on a skin tight. That's it. They put on a skin, a little gray. And then they have a floor for actual humans that are, I don't know how they mix in with these people, but they do. So we don't know how many's among us today, how many we work with every day, how many we communicate with, work with, do business deals with, how many we go to church with, how many we shop with. We don't know, but we do, and they're there. And there's some very nasty stuff that's going to come up. And these things, these disembodied spirits of the Raphaim are the same ones that Jesus cast out of the man. And Jesus said, "Who are you?" He said, "I'm Legion. I'm many." He said, "Well, get out of them, Legion." And the Legion jumped out and said, "You come to punish us before our time." Even they know when it's time for them to be punished. So it's what's behind the closed doors, the underground, the labs, the thoughts and the dreams of the very evil scientists and the evil things they have come up with and the things they have come up to do. The Bible says when God pours out the vials, the most severe of all the judgments, men will do anything to die. But they won't. They will live. It will be more horrible than since time began and never will be as bad since time. The Bible says clearly it's never been a time that bad, nor will there ever be a time that bad again. So are we going to go through that, is my question. Are we going through the tribulation? And, you know, they're all under there. They're all under lock and key. They're supposed to be under heavy guard all the time. We don't know what's there, but we know what people are beginning to see in different places around the world. We do see these saucers, these ships, these things. But the question was also put out to Doug Stauffer. Now the question, will the church go through the tribulation, Doug? This question was asked specifically to Doug. Will the church go through the tribulation? And then they said, and people say, yes, we will go through the tribulation. And what do you say, Doug? He looks square at him. He said, poppycock. That's his word. No, we won't go through the tribulation. We will not go through the tribulation. It was not reserved for those who are saved. It's punishment upon the people who continue to rebel and reject, not those who accept Christ. They will not be in a moment of the tribulation. Last, I saw this and it kind of took me back a little bit because I'd never seen Ben Carson do a blog, but he did one, and this one is disturbing. So I'm going to give you the titles of these right here. Take a moment. So you have Ben Carson. It's the United States-UK News. Ben Carson exposes New World Order. All Americans need to go to this site and see this blog. See this USA-UK News. And then just below it, Earth's magnetic field, the rapid movement, the South, the CERN, of course, and the heat wave. And then you go on, and then there's 10 terrifying facts about certain things here, and then more about CERN and over in Switzerland. But this person says, I am a lab assistant at CERN. 4 minutes, 41 seconds. They want you to look at them. Guys, I don't know when all this takes place. I just want you to know that the tribulation could begin tomorrow. I don't think so, but the rapture could happen in the next 5 minutes. I'd think about that. And I think it's much, much closer than any of us can imagine. I believe we'll have a rapture, and then tribulation will get underway. Maybe not a week or two, or maybe not a month or a year, but it will. But we'll go first. You can bet on that. Jody with Expoz.